Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. I happen to have a lot of time today going into an early weekend. So we're going to debut a brand new game on the channel today. We're going to debut another of the living card games from Fantasy Flight as we play Marvel Champions. In this game, we take control of various heroes from the Marvel Comics universe, trying to defeat villains from the same. This playthrough is going to be primarily a time and layout test, so we're going to keep everything very vanilla. As such, we're going to use what's suggested as the first game for a two-handed solo game. Deck lists for this one will not be in the description down below just because it's everything in the box. But assuming I like what I see from this test, I will be using custom decks after that, and as always, I'll provide a link to the deck lists on Marvel CDB in the description down below. But with that, let's go through our villain first. The suggested villain for the first game in Marvel Champions is Rhino. So we'll take a quick look at stage 1. He'll scheme for 1, attack for 2, and I'll explain more about how that works. Brute Criminal, and he's got 14 per hero or 28 hit points, which I've got represented on the dial by him. And then he's got flavor text. I'm Rhino. I knock things down. That's what I do. That's who I am. Straight ahead, Smash Mouth. His main scheme is the break-in. Rhino is trying to smash through the facility wall and steal a shipment of vibranium. You must stop him. If this stage is completed, players lose the game. Starts off with no threat, and every time he puts threat up on it, we'll be putting 1 per player up. In this case, 2 threat because we're playing with 2 heroes. So with that, now we can move over and meet our heroes. Our first hero for this game, and our first player today, is going to be Spider-Man. He'll start on his alter ego side, and I'll detail that when we flip over to it. But Spider-Man's alter ego is Peter Parker. Recovers for 3 when you exhaust him, and he's a scientist. As a resource action, we can generate a mental resource once per round. Right now, I'd trade the whole Spider-Man bit for a rocking chair and a good book. Yeah, I think a lot of people would. I'm not going to go through every single card in the hand because a lot of them will be spent as resources. But I'll just mention, and the way you'll be able to tell that is each card down here on the left has a type of resource. It can generate I believe that's a physical. We saw mental. I know there's lightning resources. I forget what those are actually called. Let me see if I can look that up here. I'm hoping there's like a quick reference or something where I can find the type of resource that it actually is, but of course... Alright, let me see if it's in the rules reference. I doubt it, but can't hurt to look, can it? Ah, here we go. So these are types of resources: mental, physical, energy, and wild that you can use for any resource. So you'll have some number of that in the lower left corner. You'll have to spend that number of resources to pay for each card by the cost in the upper left corner. That happens to be one of the cards I might be actually interested in this turn. But that is everything for Spider-Man. Now let's go meet his partner in crime today. Or his partner in fighting Rhino. Let's put it that way. Partner in crime probably is not the right description for a hero, but let's go meet his partner. The other hero that we're using today is Captain Marvel, aka Carol Danvers. And I don't think I showed the cards that are down here, but that's each hero's Nemesis set. So they actually don't start in the encounter deck. There might be a card later that brings them out. We'll go through that. We'll go through the relevant cards when they come up, but we'll take a quick look at Captain Marvel's alter ego, Carol Danvers. Recovers for 4 health. A shield soldier. Commander, as an action, she can choose a player to draw 1 card, limit once per round. It's my job to protect the Earth and everyone on it. I also forgot to mention health. Captain Marvel has 12 health, Spider-Man has 10. So I think that's everything set up there. Again, I'm not going to go through everything in the hand, just because we'll be spending most of those cards as resources. I'll go through what we're actually playing, obviously, but it's just going to take too much time to go through the hand from when, like I said, when most of those are going to be getting spent. So I do want to move into one more shot, which is mostly for me to check how everything looks. So let's move into our up top shot just to see how everything looks. All right, so here's my first impression. I can probably bring this. I can probably bring the main scheme. We can probably bring everything down a bit. There's the aforementioned dial with Rhino's health, if it'll ever focus. There we go, 28 health. I think I can put that. We'll put that over here. And then we'll put any schemes up this way. Maybe tip that down just a touch. Discard pile can go over here, and I think that will actually work. So with that, let's drop down to Peter Parker and get into our first turn, since he is our first player. This token is what we're using to represent the first player. So, looking at Spider-Man's opening hand, we're actually going to use the mental resource that the scientist generates to play out Web Shooter. So we'll take a quick look at this. Uses 3 web counters. Enters play with 3 counters. When those are gone, discard this card. As a hero resource, I can exhaust Web Shooter and remove a web counter from it, generate a resource. What the hero keyword means is I have to be in hero form to be able to use this card. I can't use it while I'm on the alter ego side. So we'll put that into play. We'll get the 3 web counters out for that. 3 counters which are going to act as web counters on this card. Then we're actually going to flip into hero form. So I mentioned this briefly. So we'll take a look at Peter Parker's flipped side. When he flips into Spider-Man. Thwart for 1, which is removing threat from any scheme. Attack for 2, defend for 3. We'll explain more about how each of those work. Spider Sense as an interrupt. When the villain initiates an attack against you, draw 1 card. Just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Actually, I may want to move the villain stuff up just so I have space for threat, but I can actually probably move this down here and put basically the idea is I want to put the discard pile here. I think it'll be fine. I'm still kind of playing around with space where the idea I had was I wanted space for the encounter cards that are being dealt out to each hero, maybe a threat area, and then a couple of spaces and a couple of rows for in control spaces, but like I said, this is primarily going to be a test on this. This is primarily a test video, so I can see how everything looks on layout. So with that in mind, I will exhaust the Web Shooter and spend a web counter from it. Then we'll discard. Then I'll spend 2 more resources, so I can play out a swinging web kick for 3. As a hero action, it's an attack. Deal 8 damage to an enemy. Tally-ho, Spider-Man. So that'll bring Rhino from 28 down to 20. And then he'll exhaust and attack for another 2 to bring Rhino down to 18. Looking at his hand, I think that is it. So let's move over to Captain Marvel. We'll use her commander action first to have Captain Marvel draw a card, so she will draw. Tigra. 3 cost, 1 thwart, takes a damage back, 2 attack, takes a damage back, 3 health. Response. When she attacks and defeats a minion, heal 1 damage from her. Sorry, no autographs. Then what do we want to do here? I kind of want to leave that Crisis Interdiction in her hand for now, so I will I'll flip her over into hero form as well. So Carol Danvers flips into Captain Marvel. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. As a rechannel, as an action, she can spend an energy resource and heal 1 damage to draw a card. limit once per round. I never quit. God, I hope not. Then we'll spend two and we'll go to 3 resources. I'm using an energy to pay for 2. You can see here how energy actually has multiple. Let me bring that in close. You can see here energy has multiple icons on it, so I'm able to use that for 2 resources. And then a combat training for my 3rd resource. She is going to play, where is it? Here it is. She's going to play Photonic Blast for 3 resources. As a hero action, she can deal 5 damage to an enemy. If you paid for this card using an energy resource, draw 1 card, and we did. So Rhino will take another 5 and go down to 13, and then Captain Marvel will draw another card. She will draw Cosmic Flight for 2. This would give her the aerial trait, and as a hero interrupt on defense, when Captain Marvel would take damage, discard Cosmic Flight to prevent 3 of that damage. Looking at her card, I think I do want to play that, but I don't want to play it now. So I'm looking at Relentless Assault in her hand. I almost want to keep that as an attack for later. So I'll pay 2 resources. I'll pay an Uppercut and a Tigra for 2 resources. Where is it? Here it is. To give her the aforementioned Cosmic Flight. So that gives her the aerial trait, which I need for another card in my hand. And then Captain Marvel will exhaust an attack for another 2 to bring Rhino down to 11. Then that will do it for the hero phase, which means we'll move back up top to transition toward the villain phase. Before we head into the villain phase, we'll ready up. We can discard anything we don't want in our hand. Web Shooter will unexhaust as well. I think I'm largely happy with Spider-Man's hand, so he'll draw 3 cards. And I probably should have pointed this out, where when we're on Alter Ego's side, the hit points don't change. Come on, focus. There we go. The hit points don't change, but the hand size does. So whatever side you're on, the hand size might. So whatever side you're on, that's the hand size you draw up to. So Spider-Man is drawing up to 5 cards. And, ooh, I like this hand a lot. We'll see what happens here, though. Then Captain Marvel, taking a look at her hand. I like her hand as well, so she'll draw up. I don't like her hand as much, but I think it's workable. So now we move into the villain phase. We're putting the aforementioned 1 per player threat on the main scheme. So we're putting 2 threat up on the main scheme. And then depending on the side you're on, the villain will either attack or scheme against you. In our case, he's going to be attacking against Spider-Man. So as an interrupt from Spider-Sense, he gets to draw a card, so he will get to draw. Emergency, which is an interrupt to thwart. When the villain schemes, reduce the amount of threat placed on the scheme by 1. So he's going to attack. So he's getting a boost card for this activation, which means he'll be attacking for 2 plus whatever boost icons are on this card. So Spider-Man will not defend. So our boost here is based on the icons in the lower right corner, and that's going to be a 4 damage attack. Yeah, let's not take that to the face. We're going to play backflip to get out of that. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent all of it. Have you been training? Because that almost hit me. Let's not taunt the Smash Mouth one too much, Spidey. Captain Marvel will also be getting attacked. And she will not defend. So 2 plus... Come on. Oh, right. 2 plus 2 is 4, so she's taking that one to the face. Not a pleasant time to start the game, so that brings Captain Marvel down to 8, and I think I'm going to need a different mat for Captain Marvel. So now we deal out encounter cards. This part of the layout's actually working pretty well, but like I said, I think this mat's going to need to change out. So now we deal with encounter cards, which means Spider-Man, his encounter card. Family Emergency. Oh, delightful. So we have to give that to the Carol Danvers player. Go away. I'm gonna change that mat out before we get into the next round. So I may flip to Alter Ego form, and I have to choose. I exhaust Carol Danvers to remove Family Emergency from the game, or she's stunned. This card gains Surge, discard this obligation. Surge actually works a little bit different in Marvel from Arkham, and it was one thing that confused me for a little while. So the way Surge works in this game is you just have to reveal another card from the stack you've got in front of you. So I guess the question here is, am I going to flip and exhaust this, or do I want to be stunned this turn? I think I'll just have her be stunned this turn, because I can have her do some thwarting anyway. Well, depending on what this card is, but I'm going to take a chance on getting stunned. Yeah. So the way stunned works is the next time this character would attack, discard this status card instead. So that gets discarded, and then Surge would technically... I don't know how it would work in giving that to the Carol Danvers player. I think with the one card, we'd be revealing it next anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But the other card here is a Stampede. When revealed, so there's two different sides of when revealed. In this case, since we're on hero side, Rhino attacks. If a character is damaged by this attack, that character's stunned. So... right, we're probably going to have her flip and heal this turn, but let's see what happens here. So Captain Marvel is not going to attack, is not going to defend. So 2 plus... another 1 is 3, so she's down to 5 and in a very bad way. So that will do it for the first round. Now, before we move into Captain Marvel as the second player, I am going to change out this mat, so don't be confused when we come back with a different mat. I'm actually kind of surprised that the mat wasn't... that mat was that big of a problem. I am using one of my Arkham mats here, but it doesn't seem like focus is going to be as big of a problem. So... I think we'll just spend a Haymaker and a Cosmic Flight to play out Captain Marvel's helmet. So she'll get +1 defense, +2 instead if you have the aerial trait, and we do. This is so cool, Jessica Drew. So that will go down there. Then Captain Marvel will flip back into Carol Danvers. She'll exhaust and heal for 4. Bringing her up to 9. And then she'll choose Spider-Man to draw a card, so he will draw an energy, which is going to be very welcome for him this turn. And I think that will do it for Carol Danvers, for Captain Marvel. So let's move over to Spider-Man. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to do much thwarting with... we don't do much thwarting with Spider-Man. He's more of a Smash Mouth character. So we'll play... so we'll use an energy and an emergency. Yeah, we'll use an energy and emergency for 3 resources to play out Mockingbird for 3 resources. Thwarts and attacks for 1 each, takes a damage back from either 1, 3 health. After Mockingbird enters play, stun an enemy. You call that science? So we'll play her out there. And then we'll get a stun for Rhino. Spider-Man is probably staying in his... Spider-Man's probably staying in hero form this turn. I think we will attack for 2, bringing Rhino down to 9. And then what do I want to have Mockingbird do? I think we'll have Mockingbird... we're not in danger on the scheme yet, so I think we'll go ahead and attack for another 1. So if we find another swinging web kick, we can flip Rhino right into stage 2. So that'll bring him down to 8, but Mockingbird will take a damage back from that. I think I'm pretty much happy with his hand otherwise, so that will do it for Spider-Man's turn. So let's move back up top to get ready for the next villain phase. Everything will ready up, including both of our heroes. I readied Mockingbird off camera. Let's look at Captain Marvel's hand first, since she's the first player. I'm happy with her hand, so we'll go ahead and draw 4 cards since she's on Alter Ego side. 3, 4. We got some pretty good stuff coming here, which we'll probably make use of. And then Spider-Man, I'm also happy with his hand, I think, so we'll just draw 2 cards. Okay, well, we can probably work with that anyway. Alright, so villain phase, we get 2 more threat on the main scheme. He's scheming against Captain Marvel, so scheme is for 1 plus... Another 1 is 2 threat, so we can deal with that. So that puts another 2 threat up on the main scheme. 4, which brings us up to 6 threat. And then he would attack Spider-Man, but the stunned gets discarded instead. And the way that works with Spider-Man is, with Spider-Man's Spider Sense, is because he was stunned, the attack never got initiated. So he wouldn't get to draw... Captain Marvel was the first player, by the way. So Spider-Man wouldn't get to draw the card from Spider Sense since the attack was never resolved. Now we deal out encounter cards. And Captain Marvel finds a false alarm. When revealed, you're confused. If you're already confused, this card gains Surge. So confused is the same thing as stun, except for thwarting. And then Spider-Man, we find a side scheme. Oh, delightful. We've got Bomb Scare. Reports are out that Hydra agents have planted a bomb in a nearby hotel. When revealed, we place an additional 1 per player threat here. So we place 2 plus 1 plus 2 is a total of 4 threat. And we have an acceleration card, or we have an acceleration icon. So we place +1 threat on the main scheme at the start of the villain phase. We probably need to get rid of that. So we'll get the 4 threat out for that. Spider-Man will become our first player once again. So let's, actually, wait a minute. I'm being kind of a derp on that. So what I think I'll do instead is I will actually spend his web shooter. Actually, there's a lot more dangerous cards that I want that enhanced Spider Sense for. So I think we'll sit tight on that for the time being. Just plan on trying to thwart that off. But yeah, we probably need to get rid of that, otherwise we're going to lose very quickly. So Spider-Man's our first player. Let's drop down into his play area. Alright, now I need to figure out if I can get the I want to remove one of Captain Marvel's statuses this turn. The question is, which one do I want to get rid of? Whichever one I think I want to get rid of more urgently is going to impact which card I end up wanting to play, or how I want to take Spider-Man's turn. I think thwarting right now is a little more important. So, with that in mind, I will spend the... I'll go ahead and spend the Genius, which gives me 2 resources, to play out a Surveillance Team, which gives me 3 Snoop counters, and when they're gone, I discard this card. Exhaust Surveillance Team and remove a Snoop counter from it, remove a threat from a scheme. So with that in mind, I will only get 2 counters out for it, because I'll immediately use one of them to remove a threat from Bomb Scare. Because like I said, I want to get rid of that acceleration counter as fast as I can. Then I will have Mockingbird thwart another one off of Bomb Scare. I'm going to try to get rid of that scheme this turn. 1 and 2, because I can't do first grade math apparently. And then Mockingbird will take a damage back from that. She's only got 1 health left, but I'm fine with that. And Spider-Man will... I think he's going to... attack for 2. So that'll bring Rhino down to 6. And I think that will do it for Spider-Man. Now let's move over to Captain Marvel and her mess. Commander action means she'll draw a card, so she will draw a Genius, which is another 2 resource card. Then she's going to flip. We'll try to thwart, get rid of Confused. Then looking at her hand, she's got the Aerial trait, so I do need to keep an eye on that, which I will actually take advantage of that by spending a Genius to pay for Crisis Interdiction for 2. Hero action thwart. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. Then, if you have the Aerial trait, and we do thanks to Cosmic Flight, remove 2 threat from a different scheme. This is one of the more impressive messes I've ever seen. Carol Danvers. Let's hope it doesn't stay that way. So we'll take 2 threat off of Bomb Scare and defeat that scheme. And then we'll take 2 off of the break-in since we have... Yep, okay. I wanted to make sure I was discarding in the right direction. We're taking 2 threat off since we do have the Aerial trait. Then... let's go... I kind of want to save a Power of Aggression to play Relentless Assault. So I think we'll go 1, 2... I'm not going to be able to do that, though, am I? Because I did want to try to play Spider-Woman this turn, but... he's not going to be scheming anyway, so I don't think I'm too worried about that at the moment. So let's go... let's go 3 resources. Yeah, we'll do it that way. 3 resources to, play Spider-Woman. So she's cost 3, 2 thwart, takes damage back, 2 attack, takes damage back, 2 health, but after she enters play, confuse the villain. This is what I wanted. Helping the innocent by hospitalizing the guilty. So Rhino is now confused, as Captain Marvel was earlier. Then she'll attack for 2 to bring Rhino down to 4, which will also do a damage back to Spider-Woman. If I can ever find a single in this mess. There we go. I gotta get a new craft tray for this game. So, that will do it for the turn. Now let's move back up top as we get ready for the villain phase. We'll re-ready everything, including our heroes. Spider-Man, how do I feel about this great responsibility? He's still at full health, so I'm not too worried about that. We'll just draw 2 cards. Okay, that is actually very welcome. And then Captain Marvel, I'm also happy with her hand right now with the power of aggression. So I'll just draw 4 cards. Hopefully we get some good stuff here. Okay, I think we can work with some of this. Then that will unexhaust. We'll put 2 more threat up on the main scheme. That'll bring us back up to 6. And then he is attacking Spider-Man, so we'll draw a card from that. We will draw an interrogation room after we, for 1, max 1 per player. After we defeat a minion, exhaust interrogation room to remove a threat from a main scheme. Now that we control an ally, we have an option to use the ally as a meat shield, and we will. So we're going to throw a Mockingbird in the way of this attack. 2 plus. 2 is 4, and I'm not sorry to see eviction notice go away as a to see it go away as an encounter card. So that works there. Captain Marvel will also throw Spider-Woman in the way of her attack. So 2 plus 0 is still 2, but that's enough to defeat Spider-Woman. Then we'll deal out encounter cards while I put the 1 back in the craft tray. Spider-Man's encounter card. Advance. When revealed, the villain schemes. So Rhino is scheming here, which means he'll be scheming for 1 plus 2 is 3, and I am not sorry at all to see Shadows of the Past go away. But more importantly than that, I think we'll use a great we'll use Great Responsibility as a hero interrupt. When any amount of threat would be placed on a scheme, you take it as damage instead. So we'll take 3 damage from that to keep it from going up on the main scheme. Keep that somewhat under control. Like I said, I am not sorry at all. This is the card that is always so feared among Marvel Champions players, where it reveals your set-aside Nemesis minion and puts it into play engaged with you. Also reveals your set-aside Nemesis side scheme and puts it into play. Then shuffle the rest of the encounter set for your Nemesis into the encounter deck. If your Nemesis does not enter the game this way, card gains Surge. I'm not sorry at all to see that go away. And then Captain Marvel's encounter card is Armored Rhino Suit. We have to attach that to Rhino. When any amount of damage would be placed on Rhino, place it here instead. Then if there's 5 damage on... Actually, wait a minute. Next time you would scheme, so Confused actually goes away, which means none of that happened. So that will still get attached to Rhino, but we'll give that a shuffle. I forgot he was confused, so it's the next time the villain would scheme. So, never mind. Okay, so yeah, like I said, none of that happened. Anyway, now that we've got that all figured out, did I just shuffle her encounter card away? Oh, no. Her encounter card was Armored Rhino Suit. Never mind. Now that we've got that straight, first player passes over to Captain Marvel, so let's drop down into her play area. Okay, so we do need to get that Armored Rhino Suit off of Rhino. So I'll have Captain Marvel basic attack, which gets rid of stunned. Let's see, do I just want to deal with that now? I think I do. So I'll use Power of Aggression and Emergency. And then because I'm playing an aggression card, I do get to double the resources on Power of Aggression. So that gives me 3 resources to play Uppercut, which I'll Uppercut Rhino, which just gets rid of the Armored Rhino suit. Let's see, then I can't do anything else there, so I will flip over to Alter Ego, and then I'll have Spider-Man draw a card, so he will draw. Swinging Web Kick. Okay, I needed this. I'm not sure I want to waste it now, though, since we're already getting ready to transition into Stage 2, but yeah, we can probably go with it for now. So that will do it for Captain Marvel's turn. Let's move over to Spider-Man. Since none of the scheme-related things happened, Spider-Man should still be at 10 health. Now that we've got all that straightened out, let's take a look at his hand. I think we'll go ahead and we'll exhaust the surveillance team to remove a threat from the main scheme. Then I'll use one of my great responsibilities to play out an interrogation room. So anytime we defeat a minion, we can exhaust that to remove a threat from a scheme. Then we'll attack Rhino for another 2 to bring him down to 2. I definitely want to get a jump on Stage 2, so I'm trying to look ahead there. And I think that will actually do it. So let's move back up top to get ready for the villain phase. Everything ready's up, so both of our heroes ready. Looking at Captain Marvel's hand, I'm pretty happy with that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can definitely do some work there. And then Spider-Man's hand. I think we'll discard the Great Responsibility and draw 1. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with his hand right now. Alright, villain phase, we get 2 threat on the main scheme. Speaking of scheming, he's scheming against Captain Marvel for 1 plus 0's 1 threat. I'm not sorry to see that go away. And then he's attacking Spider-Man, so Spider-Man will draw a card. Okay. Spider-Man will not defend, so he's getting attacked for 2 plus nothing, so 2 damage. So that'll bring Spider-Man down to 8 health. We are at 8 threat now, so I do need to keep somewhat of an eye on that with thwarting. So Captain Marvel's encounter card is a Hydra Bomber. 1 scheme, 1 attack, 2 health. When revealed, I choose to either take 2 damage or place 1 threat on the main scheme. Let's... I think this is probably fine. I think Captain Marvel will take 2 damage, though. And then Spider-Man's encounter card is Explosion. When revealed, if Bomb Scare is in play, assign X damage among heroes and allies, where X is the amount of threat on Bomb Scare. If Bomb Scare is not in play, this card gains Surge, which does nothing because there are no more encounter cards in Spider-Man's pile to reveal, so we're all fine there. Spider-Man will become our first player this round, so let's move down into Spider-Man's play area. Alright, so I'm going to use the Power of Justice, and that's a wild resource. I'll be able to double it because I am using it to play a Justice card. I'm playing 4 Justice as a hero action to thwart. I can remove 3 threat from a scheme, 4 instead if I paid for this card using a mental resource, and the wilds I should be able to use for any type, right? Let me just double check that, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure wild resources I can use to pay for any resource. Yep, so I can use that as two mental resources to be able to remove 4 threat from a scheme. So that'll bring the break-in down to 4 threat, and now we're not nearly in as much danger. Let's see, what do I do? There's the rest of his hand. Then I will basic attack to bring Rhino down to stage 2. So let's see what we've got here. Alright, so now he's still scheming for 1 and attacking for 3. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the break-in and take-in side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck. Out of my way. He goes up to 15 per player health, so 30. So now we need to find break-in and take-in. Ah, there you are. Alright, I would say we're probably a little more than halfway through the encounter deck. So we do need to watch out for that because that will put an acceleration token on the main scheme. But we'll take a look at break-in and take-in. Rhino is breaking things and taking them. Very simplistic. When revealed, place an additional 1 per hero threat here. And then we deal +1 encounter card during the villain phase. So we're getting a total of 4 threat on that scheme. So 3, 4. Alright. On that note, let's go 2 strength and we'll exhaust the web shooter for 1 to get us our 3rd resource. For a swinging web kick to get a head start on stage 2 to bring us down to 22. And then I think I'm okay with Spider-Man's turn at this point, so let's move over to Captain Marvel. As an action, Commander Captain Marvel will choose herself to draw a card. She will draw. Chase them down. Response thwart. After your hero attacks and defeats an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Kamala, we don't have a theme song. Please stop humming one. Captain Marvel. Well, at any rate, she will flip over. She will then... I think she'll basic attack. I wish I still had Relentless Assault, but I don't. More importantly, though, she will defeat the Hydra Bomber, which only had 2 health, and then use the aforementioned to chase them down. After your hero attacks and defeats an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. So I can take one of these schemes down to 0 threat. I think I'd rather take break-in and take-in down to 0 threat. So that's how we'll do that, and then we'll use a strength to pay for Crisis Interdiction, to remove 2 threat from a scheme. Then if we have the aerial trait, we remove 2 threat from a different scheme. So we'll remove 2 threat from break-in and take-in, which will defeat that. And then because we have aerial from Cosmic Flight, we'll remove 2 threat from the break-in. So we are definitely not in any kind of danger on the main scheme right now, which means we can somewhat race. We can somewhat race. I want to use Energy Channel later, but I think... The question here is, do I just start racing at this point? That actually might not be a completely terrible idea. Actually, we're not in any danger, so I think we can probably afford to slow it down a little bit. I'll go ahead and play Energy Channel. Max 1 per player. Spend X energy resources to put X energy encounters or energy counters here. As a hero action to attack, I can discard it. Discard deal 2 damage to an enemy to a maximum of 10 per energy counter. So there's no point to storing more than 5, which I'll spend 2 attack teams which have 2 energy icons on them to put 2 energy counters on energy channel. That will do it for Captain Marvel's turn, so let's move back up top toward the villain phase. Everything will ready up. Looking at Spider-Man's hand, I'm pretty happy with that, so we'll draw 3 cards. Okay, we can probably work with this. And then Captain Marvel will draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. I actually might be pretty happy with this hand, but I'm getting more than a little ahead of myself there. So villain phase, we get 2 threat on the main scheme. We're both getting attacked, so I do need to keep that in mind. Spider-Man will draw a card from having an attack initiated on him, so he will draw. Jessica Jones, who gets 1 thwart for each side scheme in play, he will not defend, so he's potentially getting rocked here. 3 plus 2 is 5. Can we take 5? No, let's backflip out of that. So we saw backflip earlier. I won't go through it again. Captain Marvel will... She's not in as good a spot because she doesn't really have an easy way to defend. She'll just have to take it to the face, I guess. I think the primary plan here is going to be to race, though. Yeah, I think that'll have to be the plan here. Actually, we might... Let me look at the hands, but I think we might be able to do some serious damage to him this turn, and potentially deal with him next turn. So Captain Marvel is not going to defend. Or is she? I don't think I need the basic attack this turn. So, actually, I will defend. So she'll be defending 3. Rhino is doing 3 plus 1 is 4, but 3 of it gets 3 of it gets canceled out because of Captain Marvel's defense, so she takes 1. Down to 6. Then we deal out encounter cards. Spider-Man finds Sandman, Toughness. This character enters play with a Tough status card. Scheme for 2, attack for 3, 4 health. I just want to get paid. Of course he does. Tough means the first time this character would take any amount of damage, discard this status card instead. And then Captain Marvel finds... Hard to keep down. Oh joy. When revealed, Rhino heals 4 damage. If no damage was healed this way, this card gains Surge. Except, we are not going to take that one. Because I don't... Well, do we have a choice in the matter? Captain Marvel is going to be first player. Yeah, no, I think we're going to spend the last resource from Web Shooter and Enhanced Spider Sense to get rid of that. Hero Interrupt. When a Treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects. My Spider Sense is tingling. Spider-Man. Oh good, Peter, you're not a complete idiot. You're only most of one. But in all seriousness, that will do it for the turn. Captain Marvel becomes first player, and we're into a new round. I don't think we're just going to kill Rhino this turn, but we're going to come very close. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend energy absorption. That's enough, Captain Marvel. Put 3 more energy counters on energy channel. I'll spend all 5 of them to do 10 damage to Rhino to bring him down to 12. Then I'll spend the last 3 cards, and I'll spend 3 resources, the Avengers Mansion, Photonic Blast, and Hulk, which the energy resource on Hulk is the most important part, because I'll be playing another Photon Blast. Deal 5 damage to an enemy, so that'll bring Rhino down to 7. And then since I did use an energy resource to pay for it, I'll get to draw a card. So Captain Marvel will draw. Combat training, which we're probably not going to need. Then she'll flip, so Rhino's scheming against her. And then she'll choose Spider-Man to draw a card. So Spider-Man will draw. For Justice, we saw this earlier when we basically, I think, got the board under control. So that will do it for Spider-Man, or for Captain Marvel, I should say. Now we're moving over to Spider-Man. Alright, I'm going to risk going shields down a little bit, but I think it's worth it right now. We're going to take Rhino down very close. So we're going to pay 4 resources, because that's what we've got here. We're going to go ahead and play Nick Fury. So 2 attack or 2 thwart, he takes damage back either way. Actually, we might just win here. Forced response. After Nick Fury enters play, choose 1. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. At the end of the round, if Nick Fury is still in play, discard him. And the round starts with the round does start with the hero phase. So I think Nick is going to do 4 damage to... So Nick's going to do 4 damage to Rhino, bringing him down to 3. Then Spider-Man will attack for 2, bringing him down to 1. And then Nick Fury would take 1 damage back, but that part's not relevant, because that brings Rhino down to 0, and we have defeated Rhino. So with that, let's move back up top to wrap this video up. Admittedly, I'm mostly back up top because I want to take another look at the layout from the up top perspective. So it looked like everything worked out fine. I'll have a better video. I'll have a better idea once I get the video edited and put together. But my initial impression, at least based on this battle, and this might not have been the best one to test with, my initial impression of this is I think it'll work fine as Wednesday content. Maybe if the villain runs a little bit longer, it'll work better as Sunday content, but it sure seems like this game is going to work as Wednesday content. I may want to move the villain stuff back just a touch, just so I have a little more defined threat area for the heroes, but I think this will work fine as weeknight content. And I do expect to, as for the weekend, I expect I'll have some more impromptu videos on the channel. As for what's actually scheduled, Mystical Munchies will probably go up later today as we finish the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire Outpost cookbook with the Kowakian crumb cake. There might also be some product unboxings scattered throughout the weekend. Sunday, we're on track to play Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, and then Wednesday next week, we'll be playing Aeon's End. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.